All right, hi there, algebra students. We're going to do a little bit of review on how to construct a graph, including making scales that will make sense for us. And so the first thing you need to do is know what you're graphing. And so we're looking at this plumbing problem. Water's leaked all over the floor of your house. You call the plumber to help you fix the problem. He charges $40 plus $25 per hour. And so the two variables we can immediately think we're working with, I can see dollars and hours because he's charging per hour. Okay, so if I'm thinking about dollars and I'm thinking about hours, those need to be in my table somewhere because I need some data. In order to graph my data, I need to be able to look at my data. So I need to decide which one is the independent variable and which one is the dependent variable. And now when you're thinking about that, the independent variable is the variable that you sort of control. And then the dependent variable, you kind of wait around and see what happens to it. And so the independent variable, just like in your science classes, is going to be the thing that you're kind of in charge of. And so in this case, the dollars depends on how many hours the plumber works. You get to choose how many hours the plumber stays at your house. So I'm going to put hours as my independent variable, and that's why it's going to go on the left here. And then my dependent variable is going to be the cost in dollars. And so I'll make those x and y variables here, x and y, just a label. And so if I just hire the plumber, but I fix the leak by the time he gets over there, he's still going to charge me. It's going to be $40. And then for every hour he works, because he charges $25 per hour, I can expect him to increase the bill by $25. And so there's $25 that I'll add to the bill, and so I'm going to get $65. And then beyond that, I'll add 25 more, and that's going to make it so that it is now $90. And I'll add 25 one more time, and that's going to give me $115. So that's my data that I need to work with now. And so we'll refer back to that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and look at the graph we're going to be working with. Here it is. Oops. So I'm only going to work in the graph as far as you can see it here because I can't zoom out any farther than this. So I'm just going to work on this part of the graph down here. Now, if you recall, I have hours and I have dollars. Since hours was my independent variable, I'm going to label the x-axis. Whoops, pardon me. Label the x-axis with hours. And because my dependent variable is cost, I'm going to put cost over here on the y-axis. And so now I need to think about what I can do to try to take up as much space in this graph as possible so that I have a nice graph that shows as much of the relationship as possible. And so for the hours, I know in my table, I only go from 0 to 3. And I'll just recall that for you here. I go from 0 hours up to 3. And so my graph better have 0, 1, 2, 3 on it. And so I'm going to come back down here. I'll start at 0 here. I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines 3. And that'll allow me to spread out the data pretty nicely there. It's okay to count one box as less than 1, so long as it's consistent. So I've jumped every 5 boxes is worth 1 hour. And that's a nice consistent scale. Let's handle the cost. It's a little bit more complex. So I know I have to start at 0, but it looks like I have to get all the way up past 115. So 0 to 115, just looking at the data here. And so when I come back down to my graph, I need to be able to count by something such that if I go from 0 and I start counting up, that by the time I get up to here where my cost is labeled, I'm around 115. And it's okay to go a little bit above, but you definitely don't want to get anything lower than 115 when you get up there. So I'm going to do a guess and check method, which I think is probably the method most of us use. And so the method I'm going to do is I'm going to guess a scale. I'm going to guess that I can count to get up to 115 up there. I'm going to count every 2 boxes is worth 10. And we'll see how that works. So I'm just guessing and I'm trying it. I'm working such that I can erase if I make a mistake. And I'm getting up here, every 2 boxes worth 10. It looks like if I get to here, it's only going to be worth 50. And so that seems like it's probably not going to work because I've only got a couple more boxes to go to get up there. And I'm definitely not going to get up to 115. But that's okay. When we fail the first time, just try again. I think maybe I'll make every 2 boxes worth 20 instead. And so I'll do 20, and then 40, and then 60, then 80, then 100, and then I get up to 120. And that takes up most of the graph space, and I get up past 115, just like I wanted. So now I need to graph my data, and I'm going to try something that I have not tried before. I'm going to try to move part of my table here. We'll see if it works. I don't know if it will. Ooh, it's working. Let's undo that. And come on to something here. So I'm going to put my data right here so I can refer to it. And I think I can even make it smaller. Okay, so the 0 hours, I'm going to try to color code my dots. I'll make a red dot first. My 0 hours, maybe I'll do purple first. Purple, I'm going to make 040 just so you can see where I plot these things. And so I'll plot the point in purple here. 040, I go to 0 hours and I go up to 40, and there's my starting point, 040. And so then I'll switch to, let's try blue. I'm going to try to graph 1 and then 65. And so over here at 1 hour, I'm going to go up 65, which is right there. And then in green, I'm going to try to graph 2, 90. 2, and then I'm going to go up 90. That's halfway between 80 and 100. You can kind of see it working out here. I forgot to change my pen color here. This should have been blue. You might be able to hear my son crying in the background. Sorry about that. And then last I'll do in red 3, then 115. And get my red pen out. I go over to 3 hours and up to 115, which is halfway between 110 and 120. Something you can notice is that now I've got a nice graph. It takes up most of the area. I'm going to connect it with a line. And you should expect this one to turn out as a line because the plumber charges a consistent amount per hour. And so that can serve as sort of a review of how to make a graph, including how to scale it when you need to. I'll see you guys later.